Now we talk about the BP measurement and some aspects of the blood pressure. First, the BP measurement. Patient preparation is important. For 30 minutes prior to BP measurement, you should not have had any tea or coffee. You should not have smoked. Then you should not have done any exercise. His bladder should be empty. There is no coffee or tea. Then, when the patient enters the consultation room, do not take the BP immediately. Wait for 5 minutes. Second, his arms should not be covered by any cloth. Never tie the cuff over the cloth. It is wrong. Third thing, he should be relaxed mentally and physically. His legs should be on the floor, leg rest. There should be a back rest also. Otherwise, isometric contraction of the muscles can elevate the BP. Then arms should be rested straight on the floor, on the table, without any kinking or bending. And next is, you should not talk during BP measurement. Then the BP apparatus, it should be always on the table, flat surface. Never do the mistake of keeping the BP apparatus on the bed and taking the BP. Often it has been done even in the clinical examination because there may be a tilt of the BP apparatus. Second, the BP recording mercury column should be checked that it is the 0. And see that BP cuff tubes are not kinked. Then, how to apply the BP cuff? You have to apply over the brachial artery. Second, regarding the cubital fossa, about 1 to 2 centimeter above that. And the third thing, it should be tied firmly and evenly. It should not be just, there will be some folds. It should be, then inflate the BP cuff rapidly. When you deflate, it should be slowly, about 2 millimeter mercury per second. The BP cuff is normally 13 centimeter width and 35 centimeter length. It's used to adult size. More important things are there. The BP cuff, BP apparatus should be in level with the heart. When the doctor checks the BP, his eyes should be level with the BP apparatus. It should be neither high or low. How to record the BP? As I told you, inflate rapidly, deflate slowly. First, use the palpatory method. Why? We will talk later. How to take the palpatory method? You palpate the radial or the brachial. Inflate it till the pulse disappeared. Then when you auscultate, you have to raise the palpatory BP. For example, if it is 130, raise it another 30 millimeter. Always the palpatory method BP will be lower than the auscultatory. Why we do this palpatory method? There is one condition called as auscultatory gap, where you do not hear any the Korsakoff sounds. The mechanism is different. So, when you palpate the artery, if it disappears, 130 for example, you raise it about 30. Then from that level, you can auscultate and find out the Korsakoff sounds. Suppose if you start straight away auscultation without using the palpatory method, the 30 millimeter for example, you will not be recording it. You will be missing it. You will be recording lower systolic. Korotokov sounds. 5 phases are there. First phase, there is a tapping sound. Second phase, murmurish like. Third phase, louder sounds. Fourth phase, muffling sound. And lastly, fifth phase disappears. Okay. The normal BP is systolic 120 to 129. Diastolic is 80 to 84. When we use the Korotokov sounds, the appearance of the sound indicates systolic BP. For the diastolic BP, we always use the fifth phase. There are certain conditions where you have to use the fourth phase of the Korotokov sounds for diastolic BP. There are 3 conditions. 1. During pregnancy when we record the BP. In children when we record the BP. Third, in aortic incompetence, you have to choose the fourth phase, not the fifth phase. Suppose in aortic incompetence, when you record the BP, for example, 140 is the appearance of the sound, systolic. 20 will be the muffling of the sounds, fourth phase. And the sounds can be heard till 0. So, when you record it, you say that 140, 20 and 0. 3 figures you have to give in aortic incompetence. Then, when sometimes we find the difficulty, we cannot record the BP. Those sounds could be heard. As I told you, oscillatory gap, like that, when you palpate, you will be able to feel the pulse and disappearance also. But when you auscultate, you may not be able to hear the sound. What you have to do is, in that case, ask the patient to raise the arm above the head and ask him to close the hands or the fist or 10 or 15 times. That will relieve the venous congestion. Then we will be able to make the sounds. After finishing the recording, you have to write the BP in number. 4 things are important. 1. You have to say which posture, supine or sitting. Which arm you used it. Third, the cuff size. So, for example, when you write the BP 140 by 90, right upper arm, adult cuff size, sitting posture. These 4 features are important. Then, what are the types of BP you can recognize? Malignant hypertension, where the BP is markedly elevated. For example, 220 by 120. They will have fundus changes also. Grade 4 papilledema they can have. Then accelerated hypertension. Here the BP patient is already having it. It becomes much more than what he used to have. For example, if his BP used to be 180 by 110, it becomes 240 by 130. This is called as accelerated hypertension or rebound hypertension. It happens with sudden withdrawal of some drugs, for example, beta blockers. Then, hypertension urgency. Hypertensive urgency, where the BP is high, but there is no target organ damage without papilledema or any fundus changes. The important point is you can reduce this BP gradually, whereas hypertensive emergency, again they can have very high BP 220, 140. There will be papilledema, there will be renal dysfunction also. Here you have to reduce the BP immediately, not like urgency condition. The 5th condition is resistant hypertension. The definition is you have to use 3 drugs. One of them is a diuretic. Despite these three drugs, if the BP is not coming to normal, we call it as resistant hypertension. These 5 conditions are more important and needs urgent treatment. Other condition, white coat hypertension, where patients have tension when it comes to your clinic. What the BP would be, you will be imagining. That will cause a transient rise of BP. So, next one is isolated hypertension, where otherwise called as systolic hypertension, where the systolic BP alone raised, diastolic is 90 or below. Example 180/90. Third, pseudo hypertension, where the BP is high, but when you take intra-arterially, it is normal. How to find out? It is called as Osler's sign. When you raise the BP, you can feel the radial wall thickening. Then there is a condition, paroxysmal hypertension. It happens with one condition you have to remember, pheochromocytoma, adrenal medullary tumor. Secondary hypertension, maybe a renal, endocrine. All these things can produce the secondary hypertension. Transient hypertension, BP remains for some months and then disappears. The classical example will be pregnancy. When to take BP in the lower limbs? 1. Aortic incompetence. 2. Coarctation of the aorta. 3. Peripheral vascular disease. 4. Ankle brachial index purpose. Other uses of BP apparatus is 1. In a hypoparathyroidism. For Troutius sign, the hand becomes like spasmodic. Second thing, in purpura, to bring out the purpuric spot, you tie the BP apparatus and then up to raise the BP between systolic and diastolic, wait for 3 to 5 minutes, new purpuric spots will appear. Third thing, in a snake bite, as a tourniquet, it will be useful. You can use the ordinary rope, but you do not know how tight it would be. It can cut off the arterial supply also. That will result in ischemic and gangrene also. And then in acute pulmonary edema, the BP apparatus can be used in the 3 limbs, one limb leaving free, and you have to circulate it each limb at a time leaving free. Then latest thing will be ambulatory BP monitoring, ABPM, and self BP monitoring also now in use, for particularly to know about the paroxysmal hypertension or to rule out white coat hypertension. So that will be all right for this topic.